Hi, my name is Zeph van Berlo. I'm a researcher at Communication Science, and today I'm going to answer Google's most searched questions about virtual reality. So what is the difference between augmented reality and virtual reality? So the difference between augmented reality and virtual reality is that with augmented reality we augment or we add virtual elements into the real world, where in virtual reality we completely simulate a virtual environment. Let's see. What is an example of VR? So an example of VR would be a virtual space. For example, in my own research, I've used a virtual time machine. So there you put on the headset and in the environment you can travel 1 year into the future. But there's also other famous examples, for example, Ritchie's plank experience, where you can walk out on a plank and it feels like you're standing on top of a skyscraper, where in reality you're of course just in your own room. What is an example of AR? So an example of augmented reality would, for example, be the IKEA Places app. So IKEA has an app that allows you to place their products in your living room, for example. So if you want to buy a couch, you can use that app, and then you can already check at home whether this couch will fit in your house. So it will place IKEA products inside of your own living space, for example. Are there any dangers to VR? That's a good question. There are no immediate dangers to VR, but when you're using VR, you obviously have to pay attention where you're using VR, because you put on a headset, and from that moment onward, you don't notice anything around you anymore. So you need to make sure that you have a lot of space, because if you don't do that, then you might run into a wall or trip over something that is laying around. So in that sense, it can be dangerous. But it has nothing to do with VR. And the last one, do we really need virtual reality? I think that's also a really good question, and I think the answer is yes, because there are situations that you would like to simulate that are very difficult to simulate in the real world. For example, training simulations for firemen, the training simulations for healthcare providers. These are situations that are very difficult to simulate in the real world, or are costly, where with virtual reality you can very easily and very cost efficiently let people train certain crisis experiences. So in that sense, I think it's very, we very much need it.